Now, those of you that are familiar with my channel know that I'm in the middle of restoring an 86 Chevy K10. Now, I'm trying to make the truck as modern as possible while also staying as budget friendly as possible as well. And with that in mind, here is the factory taillight housing, as you would call it. The bulbs get turned into here. You have your reverse, your main tail, and then you have a side marker here. And it sits in the box like that, and then you have a rounded lens that sits over top of it. This is how they did it back in the day, and then this, well, back then would have been kind of a shiny chrome kind of color, and then over time it fades. See, as this is a original piece. So this will get cleaned up. But what I have seen before once is somebody took, you know, those LED trailer lights, like what I have here, they took them apart, took the actual circuit board with the LEDs on them, and stuck them in here. So I picked these up from a local Princess Auto. I'm in Canada, so that's probably the equivalent to a Harbor Freight. Picked these up, 60 bucks for the pair. Obviously won't be using these, but I'm gonna see if I can maybe take these apart and fit the board into here somehow, and see if maybe there's a way I can get some cheap LED taillights out of this instead of paying the $200 or $300 that some companies are charging for LED taillights for these things. So when you take these apart, there's really not much to them. You have the actual lens itself, which has the circuit board and the lens all built into one, and then it just screws into the housing here, and the housing is just the piece of plastic, and then it has this reflector slash side marker on it, which corresponds with this little board that sticks out of the main board. Now, I just ended up cutting this off on the other one just so it would sit nice in the taillight housing. And what I did was I cut all the way around this. Now it's a little bit rough because I don't have the best materials to cut it with, but cut all the way around it, and then it kind of nicely fits in here. I did notch it a little bit so that it sits nice into the housing, and then cut it or notched it on the back here too for it to sit up against tightly like that, and then have the wires routed through the hole. So I'm gonna grab a lens and then stick this over top, make sure this all clears underneath the lens, and then try hooking this up to power and just kind of see what it looks like, see if I like what it looks like. So it looks like it does hit right in here at the very top where this is. So I'm gonna do a little bit more trimming, see if I can kind of get this to tuck in a little bit better into here, and then see if maybe we can get rid of those rubbing issues. So it took a little bit more trimming, but it does fit in there now. So I'm gonna just try. I kind of have it sitting in the position it should be in. I'm just gonna try hooking this up to power, see what it looks like. So that is the park light, the brown wire. And actually it looks pretty good. I was worried it was gonna be not pointing the right direction, because you could actually set this in the housing. It would be angled like same angle as this top piece, but then I feel like the light would be more going towards the corner of the truck rather than straight back, which is the way you'd want it. So right there, that actually looks pretty good. Now I'll hook up the brake slash signal. And as you can see, it's nice and bright, not like some of those LED taillights you can't hardly tell when the signal light is on. That is very bright, like almost blinding when you look right into it. So that should be perfect, actually. I'm really happy with how that looks. And then I will do just a regular LED 194 in this spot, and regular LED reverse light in here with the stock harness. Then I'll just wire in these to the existing 86 taillight harness. So I just trimmed this piece out a little bit more, so then this kind of sits more flush with the line that was here. And And yeah, that works pretty good. I'm kind of thinking I might just actually hot glue this together. It should be a strong enough bond. And yeah, because there's not really any way you can make a bracket to hold this, and really there's no point, right? Like this is all gonna stay contained. So I'm thinking I might paint these bezels up and then just go ahead and hot glue this right to here. But in the meantime, I'm going to take the other light, I'm gonna cut around it like I did with this one, get them both prepped, and then I can probably paint these housings. If anyone's curious, this is the type of paint I'm using. It is literally chrome paint. It's not like exactly a mirror finish like it says it is, but it's more shiny than a silver, right? So you want as much projection and reflection as you can get here. Obviously this part doesn't really matter for me in here because my lens is on an angle like this, so everything behind it doesn't matter, but for the reverse light and the side marker, having this chrome in here is going to help with the reflection. Rather than just painting it black, it wouldn't project quite as well. Also, if you were wondering, I did seal up the old hole for the brake / signal light. Well, you don't really need it there anymore because I'm getting rid of that bulb. But then also, if you were to leave that open, that would be wide open access to get moisture in behind the taillight lens once it's on there. So I sealed that up. Drilled a small hole underneath where the 3 wires for the LEDs is going to go through. Did that on both of them. And then it's just big enough for the 3 wires to stick through. They'll go through, and then I'll silicone them on the other end once the lamp is actually glued into place. So that way I'll still have a full sealed assembly. So to fit with the theme of the rest of the truck, in my previous videos I did some powder coating on the light lens trim, and the taillights are going to be the same thing. Now this is a completed one, got it powder coated in gloss black. Now this one I accidentally messed it up a little bit, and since this stuff is so thin I can't really sandblast it to get the powder coating off to redo it. Because it's so thin, it just likes to deform and it won't keep its shape, and it won't work out very well. So I'm just gonna go ahead. I'll buy a new $8 taillight lens and it'll come with new trim, and I'll just make sure I get that 100%, and then that'll go back on here. So then here you can kind of see the difference between the trim and no trim, and I think this one looks a lot better. And also this is kind of what it looks like completed. You can see kind of the round outline with all the LEDs in there. Now this is just the park light settings. So if I connect this wire back here, now that's brake / turn. So you can see the difference here. Like that's just your park light, and then that'll be your brake and turn signal. So there's a huge difference between park and signal, which is perfect. There won't be any guessing whether I'm turning or not. It'll be very apparent. And then I'm going to be putting LED reverse lights in it and then LED side markers in the side with the factory Squarebody harness. So that's gonna do it for today's video. Now, hopefully that helped. If you're looking for a cheaper alternative to doing the LED Squarebody taillights, because I know there's a couple different options out there. There's a set on eBay, or I think Dakota Digital makes a set, but they're asking like $200 or $300 American, which is just ridiculous. I mean, I spent 50 bucks over at Princess Auto for those, and then I got a spare trailer wiring harness. I got some extra stuff out of it. Princess Auto is Canadian, so maybe Harbor Freight down in the States would have it, I'm not sure. Or actually, I've seen them on Amazon too for even cheaper. So really, this is a really cheap, inexpensive way to get LED taillights if you're willing to do it yourself and build a set like this. Now, if you have any questions on how I did it, if there's anything I left out, be sure to leave it down in the comments below. And be sure to like this video if this helped, and be sure to subscribe for more of my K10 content, because I really want to get this thing finished up this summer, so you're not going to want to miss that. So with that, we'll see you guys in the next one.